You're listening to 107.9 WRML LP Mays Landing. Coming up next, a look at this week's retro video game news on the RGN Files for the week ending Sunday, March 18, 2018. In the RGN Files this week, Sega has made the announcement that they will be releasing their critically acclaimed title Sonic Mania on physical media for the first time. The game, which was released this past August, was a throwback to the 16-bit titles of the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise and sold as digital downloads for all modern video game consoles. While the physical product was in fact sold back in August, the package did not include the actual game on physical media, but instead opted to include a download code inside of the actual product. The new release, now branded as Sonic Mania Plus, will include a variety of new features, including Mighty the Armadillo and Ray the Flying Squirrel being added to the mix as playable characters. The game will also include a 32-page art book, as well as reversible cover art. The new physical edition of Sonic Mania Plus is slated to be released this summer for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, as well as Nintendo Switch, and will sell for just under $30. Those that purchase the original game title will be able to buy the updated game content as a digital download for a lower price. In other Sega-related news this week, Brooks Accessory has made the announcement that they will be making a brand new addition to their Game Controller Super Converter lineup that is of interest to Sega Dreamcast gamers. The Game Controller Super Converter is a collection of dongles that allow gamers to play their favorite video game consoles of the century using controllers for older or competing systems and vice versa. The newest addition to the lineup will allow gamers to use Sony DualShock 3 or 4 controllers on Sega's Dreamcast console. The device would be compatible with any control device that works on the PlayStation 3 or 4, including arcade sticks and driving wheels. Other features of the dongle include turbo button capabilities, vibration support, and button configuration. Because the device also utilizes USB, hot swapping may also be a possibility. While the upcoming product will be a positive for gamers wanting wireless controls for their Dreamcast, it is not yet known how they will support VMU devices, such as memory cards or microphones, if they will be supported at all. The product is currently available for pre-order for just under $40 and is slated to be shipped out to customers by the end of May 2018. A new game in the classic Tempest franchise is presently in the works to be available for the Steam-based computer platform. Tempest 4000, first announced by Atari this past August, is being developed by Llamasoft, a company that was founded by Jeff Minter. Minter is no stranger to the franchise, as back in 1994, he helped create Tempest 2000, which was a remake of the original title for the Atari Jaguar and Sega Saturn platforms. According to Steam, the new game will require 64-bit versions of Windows 7 or later, an Intel Core processor, 4GB of RAM, as well as an Intel HD Graphics 4600 or higher, in which the game will utilize a native 4K resolution, as well as DirectX version 10, 2GB of hard drive space available, as well as a Windows-compatible sound card, in which the game itself will feature a soundtrack that is inspired by house music of the 1990s. Tempest 4000 is slated to become available on Steam this coming spring of 2018, and while there have been also versions of the game announced for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One consoles, an official date has not yet been given for these versions. There's also no word on what the price will be, however similar titles have sold on Steam for just under $20. Toys R Us has officially announced that they will be closing most, if not all, of their brick-and-mortar stores throughout the United States. While the company had been a staple for many of us growing up as kids, there has been much competition from companies such as Walmart and Target in recent years, alongside of online retailers including Amazon. When the chain filed for Chapter 11 protection last fall with $5 billion of debt, that squelched their attempts to compete as shoppers moved to other large chains. In a speech that was given by CEO David Brandon to his employees at their Wayne, New Jersey headquarters last week, he actually took shots at shoppers that had recently cut their support for the chain. He stated, quote, "I believe that all of them will live to regret what is happening to our company," end quote. Brandon also said in the same statement that Toys R Us will be trying to merge with its Canadian business, which may help keep as many as 200 American stores open. The online store will also remain operational for at the very least a few additional weeks in case a buyer shows interest. While there is no official word on when the stores will be liquidating their inventory, some individual stores are stating that they will be shutting down their doors permanently by the end of this May. And finally this week, Limited Run Games has officially released their physical version of the 2010 video game The Oregon Trail. The game, which is a parody of the 1980s educational classic The Oregon Trail, has been available for purchase on mobile devices and modern platforms for several years. However, the recent release from Limited Run offers the game on physical media for the first time. The title takes homage to the original mech title, but instead of heading to the west for a better life, you're trying to avoid a zombie apocalypse. The game offers era-style graphics similar to the popular Apple II version of the game, and despite the modern storyline, still contains the infamous dysentery death. The physical release was first offered this past Friday on Limited Run Games, being offered for the PlayStation 4 and Vita platforms. The games are being limited to a total of 3,000 copies for each system and have been selling for just under $25 per copy. While some games from Limited Run sell out rather quickly, at the time of this podcast recording there is still inventory available for both platforms. The products are presently still in manufacturing and will not ship out immediately. That's it for this week's edition of the RGN Files. For those listening on VGM on FM, please stay tuned. There'll be more video game music coming up shortly. For those listening on RetroGameNetwork.com, we thank you for listening and hope you'll tune in again next time. For the RGN Files, I'm Christopher Chrisman. For complete details of any of this week's stories, visit RetroGameNetwork.com. This week's news story is provided by the following: Ars Technica, CNBC, ComicBook.com, The Dreamcast Junkyard, Fortune, Limited Run Games, Steam. You're listening to VGM on FM on 107.9 WRML. Now, back to the music.